Welcome to the AI Brothers podcast. We are two brothers who have been discussing and arguing about technology since we were kids and have decided to include you in these conversations.
We will cut through the noise to bring you data and research on the latest developments on AI. We are not interested in hype. We bring you the signal to keep you on top of this new technological and industrial revolution.
Because AI will permeate everything and be everywhere, initially as a layer on top of existing system, and then becoming itself the operating system. So, in today's episode, we will look at AI's impact on jobs. We will look at it from the perspective of research, because our podcast is all about bringing the data and bringing the research and to cut through the noise. And when we talk about impact of AI on jobs, we mean human jobs.
There's a lot to talk about on this topic, ranging from humans are unique and irreplaceable to all the way AI will take over the world,
And a lot of these conversations often feel like an expression of people's wishes and desires, their projections of the future, rather than actual data-driven and fact-based prediction. So today we will look at data, focusing on a recent paper from Microsoft Research, and you can look it up. It's titled Working with AI, Measuring Generative AI to Occupations. So the paper is currently on archive, and you can pull it up.
This paper was shared a lot on social media 2 or 3 months ago, but we wanted to have a proper look at the data.
Okay, so let's dig into the paper. So first, looking at the approach. What the authors have done is they looked at 200,000 anonymized user AI conversation that happened on Bing Copilot. And they did this to define the type of action that are requested by AI. And on these actions, which are the ones that are most successfully performed by the said AI?
Well, the first thing we learn is that 200,000 conversations happened on Bing,
Exactly. So that's for anybody saying that Bing is not doing anything. This paper at least tells us that 200,000 conversations actually happen on Bing. Well, maybe a segue on this. So when I was trying to learn Chinese, I actually found out that Bing in Chinese meant called. And I always wondered if by calling it Bing, they were trying to sound cool in China. So maybe if somebody watches this video and is more erudite in Mandarin, he could provide a comment and tell us if it's actually called Bing for this reason. Anyway, back to the lecture at hand.
Wait, that's the Dr. Rodriguez reference.
Exactly. You got to bring up the classics. So what's interesting about this work is that they looked and evaluated how the tasks are performed. So they didn't just look at sort of a general applicability of AI. They actually digged into the tasks and how they were performed by the AI.
Because a lot of the research looks at this from the perspective of productivity, wages, hiring, etc., which depend on AI, but also on business decisions.
Exactly. So if from the perspective of a lot of that research, it's not granular enough, contrary to what was done in this paper, where they really looked at the tasks. The other thing that's impressive about this work is that they looked at 200,000 conversations. So the scale of it is impressive. To give you an idea, previous work on Claude only had 18,000.
Okay, let's dig to the result. Because honestly, they were very smart in the way they analyzed it. First, they looked at the requests and they looked at them from the perspective of the humans and from the perspective of the AI. For example, if someone asks a question to a chatbot, for example, for a perspective. He is looking for information, but the perspective of the chatbot is doing multiple actions, like responding to a user request and gathering information, because the chatbot has to understand the request before performing the search.
Exactly. So that's really digs into what the AI is doing because the way AI, the chatbot handles the requests generates an emergent property that can be generalizable. So when you look at the figure, unsurprisingly, most of the human requests are related to gather information, interpreting information, thinking creatively, updating and using knowledge, working with computers. But interestingly, from the AI perspective, it's really about service to the user and really about adapting to the user's request.
Interesting how a type of request requires a different type of action. This is deep. In our search of practical problem solving, we are teaching the AI to understand and manage our behavior and accessing layers of cognition.
Yeah, that's kind of worrying stuff, isn't it?
No, it's actually exciting stuff, huh? It's actually exciting.
Well, I'm not surprised that you'd react to it like this. Okay, so then what they did is that they clustered these actions into work activities. So they had the breakdown of every action, and then they clustered them into work activities. Is it purchasing good? Is it executing a financial transaction? And again, here you can see human are really focusing on the task they're trying to do, but the AI is focusing on really understanding the request and really understanding the human behavior.
Okay, now let's talk about the effectiveness of this task, because we need to understand if the LLM is actually helpful at these activities.
Exactly. So that's also how this work distinguished itself. So they looked at the user feedback. So it's not only about doing the task. The users had to give thumbs up or thumbs down based on the quality of the answer they got.
But people may be too nice, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's known, like if you go on Uber, everybody got a 4+ star rating. But I think the good thing about this work is that they have 200,000 conversations, so they will be able to correct and to normalize the result across their data set. So when you look at the results, you can find that the tasks that involve writing, editing text, researching information, evaluation of a certain product, they all get some pretty good feedback. In contrast, the work activity involving more complex data analysis, processing, calculating financial data, visual design, they tend to get a worse feedback.
But if we pause a second, the task with the worst feedback may just be a function of the model. The LLM powering Bing isn't the sharpest one, so more powerful models could probably perform this task way better. What I found interesting is that when the AI tries to directly provide support or advice, people are less satisfied than when it helps them provide support or advice to others. I guess AI has not just grasped our complex human nature. That's all.
Yeah, I guess they're right. I mean, I'm still waiting for the AI that could grasp your perspective on things. I mean, I've been your brother for a very long time and I'm still figuring out. Okay, so to finish off, they map these tasks into jobs. So they got the task, they mapped them into functions, and then they clustered them into jobs. And the point is to define which jobs are most affected by AI, and they defined a AI applicability score. So people can look through the full list of the jobs in the paper, but basically, the more a job involves finding information and sharing it with people, the higher the AI applicability score will be. So in that list, translators and historians are at the top of this AI applicability list.
I personally find the last figure to be overwhelmingly, in the end, too otherwise interesting work. Basically, they compare the fancy AI applicability score to that they got from 200 real interactions with the score from a previous paper that asked people and ChatGPT-4 to predict which task will be impacted by LLM technology, and it really correlates.
Yeah, I agree. That last figure is a bit of an irony where, if you ask ChatGPT which job is going to be most affected by AI, it does just as good of a job as their entire analysis. In a way, they would have to put themselves as well at the top of the AI applicability score. But jokes aside, I think what's good about this work is that it's a thorough analysis and a systematic analysis of the data and provides a framework for future adaptation and evaluation of AI's impact on jobs.
Wait, yes, but because a lot of jobs that they describe as low AI applicability could be affected by AI-powered robots like housekeepers.
Yeah, I mean, already pretty much anyone can buy these small robots that clean the floors. I've seen some videos from China where they even have sort of house robot that can fold your clothes. We see in the news that, for instance, Amazon is already preparing to have robots in their warehouses. They're even preparing the communication where they're not calling them robots, they're calling them cobots. So to present that these machines will be working with people. So a lot of jobs that seem to have low AI applicability will probably be affected by humanoid robots in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's gonna be the case.
Yeah. So basically, to finish off the presentation of this work, clearly the models that are currently happening are not at the stage of complete AI replacement. The data that we see doesn't sort of track with the discussion and the prediction that you get, like from the IMF saying that 40% of jobs at risk of being completely replaced by AI. This is not the reality of the data that we see.
But wait, bro. Current is the key word because AI advances can bring breakthroughs that quickly change the whole thing,
Exactly. So I think we need to look at the data, but also keep an eye on what's coming, and that's exactly why we're recording these podcasts, is to keep you on top of the research, of the science, of the actual innovation, so that you are not caught off by a breakthrough. Now, at this stage, I still think the model are not there yet. I actually was listening to Andrej Karpathy recently, and for someone who's at the forefront of AI, he actually claimed that a fully functional agent are not going to happen in the next few years. It's actually a decade-long process, and the technology is not where it needs to be.
Yeah, I really think that we really need a reliable, safe, and online learning loop,
Yeah, so in order to, when you think of the kind of tasks that humans do, they what's key is not just the information you have, is your ability to adapt, your ability to learn new things, to correct, to work with other people. And these skills have always been important in the workplace. Now they're going to become more important, obviously with the caveat that these things could very quickly change if there are some major breakthroughs in AI. And obviously we are on the look for these developments. So thank you very much for listening. We welcome the feedback. We look forward to discussion. So please comment and let us know. What do you think about this data? And if you have any other research that you want us to look into, please put it in the comment. Thank you very much.